Can everybody hear me? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, we are recording this. We got 14 people. I expect a couple more, but we get started and respect everybody's time. Let us begin in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in these trying times. We ask you to send your graces upon us so that we may be strengthened in our journey, in our ministry, in our work, and in our lives. Give us the graces we need. Keep everybody safe. Help us have the wisdom we need to persevere. Help us know that you're with us. Strengthen us so that we don't be afraid, even though there's really good reason to be. We ask you to send your blessings upon our school and help us make the right decisions. We ask this through your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.
Mark, there's a little bit of feedback.
Do you have a suggestion as to how I can get rid of the feedback?
You want to just mute everybody besides yourself right now?
Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So here I have a lot of information to present to you in a short amount of time. Going to present to you an instructional plan for next Monday through at least Christmas. Yesterday morning, about 11:30 or so, we received, and all the principals received, an email saying that as soon as possible, we need to move to 25% capacity by room. We've been using the 25% capacity by the overall facility. At this point in time, junior kindergarten and kindergarten meet that mandate, and we don't have to make any adjustments with them. However, the first grade through eighth grade do not meet that mandate. We were told that we really should have something in place by next Monday. The reason we don't meet that mandate anymore, and we did at the beginning of the year, is not the new students, but that we've had so many kids come back from remote learning to on-campus learning. We were about 27 to 30% at the beginning of the year that were on remote. We're down to about 5 to 10% at this point in time. The other piece that's important for all of us to realize is I've asked on a couple occasions since then if we can get a commitment that this mandate will or will not be in place after Thanksgiving, and those decisions haven't been made. And so we're making a plan, and I'll talk about this under the guiding principles. We're making a plan that will be consistent, because flip-flopping and going every which direction, that needs to be minimized. In looking at this plan, there were 4 lenses that I asked the building leadership team to look at this through. Is this plan good for students? Is the plan good for parents? Is the plan good for faculty and staff? And also, is it good for us as a business? As a private school, we are centered on our mission as being a ministry, but we're also a business that has to meet our budgets and meet our lenses and our obligations. And the thing I want to really affirm today is that the school is in really good shape financially at this point. And there's no concerns in that nature. I've been in principal meetings with other schools where they're running in the red every single month. That's not our case. We're in really good shape. And actually, we're slightly ahead of budget. But when you're taking these four things, I like to look at them as lenses, because it's almost like you're taking a pair of glasses and you're putting one glass over the top of another and top of another, so that they're all, the view is going through all four. None of the four are superior to the other three. They all have to be looked at equally through this. We also gave a survey out yesterday, and the results were, we've got really high responses from both community and our team here at the school. And in reviewing this data with the staff, there's some interesting pieces that come out. There's a difference between there's no consensus on the staff as far as whether we should be in remote or in person. And it flip-flops a little bit and saves anywhere between 60-40 and moving back the other direction, 40-60. But if you look at our parents, they're fairly committed in the 70s, saying that we need to stay on in-person learning, if at all possible. The other piece of the data that was really compelling is if you looked at the hybrid comparisons of the two populations, they're almost exact opposites between the faculty and the teacher and the community. The piece with that question that's absolutely crucial is that it was actually a bad question if I was looking at it from a research point of view, because I just asked, do you want to be hybrid or remote, and did not define what hybrid was. And so people had all different visions of what hybrid would be. But this data is actually very important, was part of our decision making, because it really does show both where our staff is in an almost equal division and where our parent community is, which is very strong in wanting the in-person learning. And so again, looking through those four lenses, we need to look at it from parent, staff, students, and a business model. When I worked with the building leadership team, they met yesterday for an extensive amount of time, and then again this morning. There were really several guiding factors that came out of our discussion and articulated here. There have been three that we've had right from the beginning: of ensuring that we provide a safe environment, providing a high quality education. Whatever model we have, we need to be reasonably assured that it's not going to be perfect, but that we can offer high quality education to our students, and we have to meet mandates. We're not going to play games of going against mandates or anything like that. And so those are the three givens that have been from the beginning. The other pieces that came into the decision-making a lot is we wanted to provide consistency in the instructional delivery as much as possible. We want to minimize the flip-flopping. And the example I can give is my wife is in a situation in Denver. Where they've gone from remote learning to in-person learning to remote learning back to in-person learning. And there's been no consistency for their students at all. We want to try to minimize that as much as possible. We also have seen that our students learn best on campus with their teachers and their peers. This also promotes better mental health in a difficult time. On the fourth bullet down, black bullet down here is on-campus learning is necessary, as many parents cannot work if their students are at home. And equally as important is the fourth bullet. We want to ensure work expectations are reasonable for all staff. And so I really think these are the pieces that went into making sure that we were making a good decision and guiding our decisions from here. The other piece I just want to put right out on the table, right up front, is that if there's an increase in COVID cases, it will require that we move to remote learning. The state has outlined that if a school has 4 rapid responses within a 2-week period of time, that it will be required to close, and it's not a 2-week closure, but it's a closure until that county turns from red to green. And so right now, Bernalillo County is red. We would not be able to return once we go to remote under that auspice. We would not be able to return to in-person learning until Bernalillo County turned green again. Another factor that might cause us to go into remote learning is if we can't staff the building, that we have so many teachers out for quarantining or with illness that we just can't even do the program. And we saw a little bit of that stress today. And I thank Debbie and Darlene for covering the 2 classes that they did today to help make sure our kids are receiving the education they need, and they did a great job with it. The third piece is if there's a significant spike of cases within our school, we will need to come back and evaluate the situation, even if the state is saying that we don't have to. So putting this plan out there does not mean that we won't be going to remote learning, but our hope is to not have to go to remote learning. Any questions at this point? And you can either unmute yourself or write them in the chat box. You're welcome to provide questions at any time, and I'll stop throughout here and keep going, but I'll keep going at this point, not having any. So our plan, again, it's from November 23rd to December 18th at this point in time. There's been consultation, and actually not beyond consultation, there's been collaboration with the building leadership team. There's been consultation with the school consultative council. And I did meet with Father briefly about this morning, and he gave us the go-ahead to go forward with this plan. Again, the plan is from November 23rd through December 18th, but we may have to extend this into January. I'm particularly concerned about the 2 weeks after New Year's and the number of people that may be traveling and where the spread might be at that point in time. So we will evaluate this, and again, with the lens of providing consistency as much as possible. So you're asking, what is this plan? There are really 3 big components that I want to we'll go through in depth with you guys here. The first thing is that the school is going to be closed all next week. No remote learning, no classes going on here at the school. We will be offering, and Michelle Everett has already confirmed that her team will provide free childcare Monday and Tuesday for those families that need childcare on Monday. That will be free. The only thing, if I say this in case kids or parents are asking you, we are asking that the kids provide their own lunch on that day, but we will provide a childcare area on Monday and Tuesday so that the families, the working families, aren't put into a pinch on those 2 days. There's a couple of guiding reasons for this. One, we can't meet by next Monday the expectation for 25%, but also you guys have been doing one incredible job in just moving at a fast pace all year long. And I said to the building leadership team, if we just take Thursday and Friday off, those 2 days aren't really relaxing, at least for me, because it's the holidays and you're cooking and all those kind of things. So we will be taking the whole entire week off, both so that staff can recoup, but also that I can work on the necessary logistics to move us into the next part of a half-day hybrid model with a full-day option. The other piece, just to get it out on the table, is this is paid leave for everybody. So no one is going to be, other than Michelle and her team, no one is going to be expected to work next week or asked to work. I'd actually ask that you don't work and take some time for yourself, but it is paid time for everybody. So those that do timesheets, please put down your normal hours as if you were working on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. The second piece is, as I said, is a half-day hybrid model with a full-day option, and I'll talk about that in depth. The piece, just to make sure we're out on the table with it, is JK and kindergarten will have a full-day option because we can keep them on campus. The other piece is, and this is going to make everybody's life a lot easier in a lot of ways, is that we'll have a synchronistic off-campus remote program. That we're changing the remote program so that there's not going to be 2 different programs going on, but that the off-campus kids will be receiving the same instruction. I'll explain that in a little bit. Some key terms just to give you so that we're on the same page of what these terms mean. Hybrid model is part of our student population attending classes while the other group is taking part in home studies. In person means the students are here in the building. Home studies is the work students do independently to support their learning in the class. I'm designating, I was careful with that wording, home studies, because I don't want it to be confused with remote learner. Full day are students who are on campus all day, half day in the classroom, half day in the learning center in the gym. And remote learners are ones who do not step foot on campus here at all, and they will be completely remote. So the half-day model that we'll be going to, and actually this has been used at Berlin, St. Mary's in Berlin, and I talked to the principal again today. Her teachers have been using this off and on all year long, and they absolutely love it. And I said to the staff, when we're looking through those different lenses, I actually think your life is going to be easier with this model than it was all this semester. Berlin started on this half-day hybrid, went to full day, and according to the principal, the teachers were begging her to go back to this half-day hybrid. And they are going back after Thanksgiving to this almost exact, very similar model. In this model, you want to think about, Stephanie said, it's almost like kindergarten, half-day kindergarten. You have a group of kids coming in the morning, you have a time of the day without any kids, and then you have a group coming in the afternoon. Families will be grouped. I'll be sending out a questionnaire to families. Do they prefer morning, afternoon, or all day? And they'll be able to designate their preference. Schedule 8:15, 11:15, the first group. For classroom teachers, 11:15 to 12:15 is lunch and prep. And the afternoon is 12:15 to 3:15. I'm going to be sending these slides out to you as soon as we're done here, so you'll have all this information as well. The focus of the in-person, it's 3 hours. It's not much time to get all the content, so there has to be a focus. The focus of in-person studies, that when they're in class, will be direct instruction, teaching, going through what you need to do to provide the support to the individual teachers, students. The focus when they're on home study is that the students will practice and do independent work to reinforce what they were doing in class. My easiest example that I can give you for that is the students do math. And so in math, Mr. Garcia, he's just the first one on my screen, he teaches the new concept. He does a couple problems so that the kids can understand it. But the guided practice work that he's going to do with them will get sent, be done as home studies. So they'll maybe have 20, 30 minutes of math in school, and then they'll have another 20 or 30 minutes of math that they're doing independently, either at home or in our gymnasium. And I'll talk about that again in a little bit. Our focus, we only have 3 hours. And also we are going to be providing an option for the kids to be here on campus for those parents that need their kids to be here on campus. Our focus K-5 is language arts, English language arts, reading, writing, phonics, all that, math, and religion. I'm not putting this time frame on how much each of those should be. That is for you. You know your kids, you know what they need, you know what you need to do as delivery of this instruction. You can decide on how much time is for math, how much time is for ELA. The only thing we ask is that, and it comes up here in another slide, but I'll talk about it now, is if your kids are going to another grade level for math, we need to coordinate with that other grade level, because the kids still need to, it wouldn't be right for a child who's receiving 5th grade math to suddenly go back into the 4th grade curriculum. Science and social studies will be integrated as appropriate, but will not be a focus of the instruction while we're on the hybrid. Again, we're not the only ones doing this. This is exactly the model that, in this piece, this is exactly the model that St. Mary's of Berlin has been using successfully. Here is a sample schedule, and I stress it's a sample, but it's one thing that you can do. 8:15, morning welcome, morning routine. 8:30, you start on English language arts. You have 45 minutes of English language arts. Math following that at 9:15. put in a recess there where you have 15 minutes of recess and 5 minutes of transition time. You come in and do religion, and then you have a closure. That closure is going to be an important piece because you're going to want to review with the kids what they need to do on home studies. So what you're going to want to make sure during that closure time is that either you're using a planner or you're making sure going through Google Classroom that the kids know, okay, I was in class this morning and in math we did this, and now in my home studies I need to do this. There will be an expectation, K-5, that the home study should take approximately an hour and a half of work and should reinforce what was done in class today. So those things that your kids are due during the day where they can do it independently, those are the things that they should be doing during their home studies time. Middle school, because we have 2 part-time teachers, looked at the model, and actually this is the exact model that the Belen is using. They are having an A-B schedule where A day they have 3 classes, B day they have 3 classes. The classes are 55 minutes long with a 5-minute transition. So on day A, the child might have English, might have mathematics, and might have social studies. And then on B day, they'll have religion, they'll have science and Spanish. And then it just flip-flops every other day. This will allow, again, you're teaching, I put the morning times on here. Whatever you're teaching, an important piece of this is whatever you're teaching in the morning is the exact same thing you're teaching in the afternoon. You just have half your kids in the morning and half your kids in the afternoon. So if I go back to this elementary schedule, all you need to do is change that first number to 8:15 to 1:15, and you repeat the exact same lesson plan. So you're not doing 2 sets of lesson plans. What you teach in the morning is the exact same thing you'll be teaching in the afternoon. So let me give you an example. And I use Laura because that's the class that we worked with the BLT. Laura has 11 kids on campus and 1 off, and I think I got that right. So let's say the kids stay the same way they do. She might have 5 kids in the morning and that 1 remote learner in the morning, and then she'll have 6 kids in the afternoon. Again, what she does with the 5 kids and 1 remote learner in the morning will be the exact same thing she'll do in the afternoon. 1 set of lesson plans for both parts of the day. Same thing with middle school. You'll teach, if they have science in the morning, the exact same science lesson would be in the afternoon, but then they wouldn't have science the next day. They'd have social studies and it would rotate through. Again, I want to meet with the middle school team because we need to make sure that will work for everybody's schedule, but it would be every other day. For middle school teachers, you should be thinking about if you have math today, they're not having math tomorrow. So they should have about 45 minutes of home study for each subject. And because they'll be doing it over 2 days rather than, it won't be due the following day, it'll be due when they come back. If they have it on Monday, it will be due on Wednesday when they come back. So they'll have 2 days to work on it. Let me see. Another important piece, again, junior kindergarten and kindergarten, they will have the option of having the whole day or the half a day. We may have a case of a family that has a child in kindergarten, 2nd grade, and 4th grade. They may be having their older 2 kids coming in the morning. So, and they don't want to come back here a 3rd time during the day. They can take all their students in the morning and just have that half a day of kindergarten for the kids. And I've talked to Stephanie, I haven't talked to Kate, but Stephanie was part of our conversation. She's going to put the meat of kindergarten, the core standards for junior kindergarten and kindergarten in the morning, and then some of the extra stuff in the afternoon. So our JKers will have the option of being in class. I think that will work even better so that they're not in the gym with the older kids. So I'm going to stop there again. Questions, comments, concerns, statements, you can either unmute yourself or I'll also open up the chat box.
Mark, can you show the mid-school schedule one more time and go over all of the subject areas and how that will work with A and B?
Yeah. So There's the middle school schedule. There will be a group, let's take the sixth grade. I think we have 21 kids in the sixth grade, if I'm remembering things correctly. I got to move just the participant box out of the way. I think we have 21 kids in sixth grade. 10 of those kids would come into the classroom in the morning. And let's say in the morning, on Monday, they're having English, math, and science. The other 10 kids would come in the afternoon, and they again also would have English, math, and science. The following day, those kids who came in the morning on Monday will still come on Tuesday in the morning, but they'll have the opposite classes. They'll have religion, social studies, and Spanish. The other way we can do it, we can get all 6 classes in the morning, but you're talking about 20 to 25-minute classes because of all the transition time. So that we could look at it another way, but you lose a lot of time with the kids moving between 6 classes. Here, you only lose 10 minutes of transition time, whereas if you transition between 6, you're losing about 20 to 25 minutes of the 3 hours just in transition time.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Kate asked a question about meeting with administration to plan this all out. Over the Thanksgiving break, I will be working with the parents will have till Friday to give us their preferences, and they'll have to stick with that preference. They'll either have a preference of remote, half day, and if they say half day, we'll ask them their preference. And I use that word preference purposely, of morning or afternoon, or they can sign up for all day. And then I will work to make sure that I'll communicate with all of you of who's going in what sections and all that. And that's my work on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Lisa asked, when should we coordinate with schedules with the teachers that we share? I would really recommend that we get that done tomorrow and Thursday, if at all possible. I'm going to tell you right up front, Monday the 30th is going to be a challenge, and we're not going to get everything perfect. Tuesday is going to be a challenge, but we'll do things better, and we'll work through the issues just like we did at the beginning of the year. Title I will continue to be in the afternoon, and so I will try to make sure that all the kids are getting, who are in Title I are getting the afternoon. Can you guys still hear me? You can tell the students tomorrow I am going to, I'm going to send out a letter tonight and probably this PowerPoint with some revisions in it to the parents tonight. They will know tonight, so you're welcome to talk to the kids tomorrow. This is, as far as I'm concerned, Father, this is the exact recommendation of the BLT. Took the exact recommendation to Father. He's approved it, so we're going to move forward with it. The only thing that will change it if the governor shuts us down even further. Gladys, you're exactly right. Elementary won't have any pullouts during this time. You're exactly right. There's 2 reasons for that. The reason Blinn doesn't offer most of their pullouts is because 3 hours is just a very limited amount of time to have the elementary kids, and it's going to be even hard to get the core stuff in that 3-hour time period. The other reason we need to is because I'm going to need the elective teachers to help me in the full day program, supervising, supporting kids in their learning, and providing elective classes in those full day program. I'll be talking about that in a moment. Any other questions, or I'm going to just move on. Okay, let me talk about the full day option. Again, if we go back to the guiding principles back here, two big pieces was making sure that the workload was reasonable for staff. And then also we need to be cognizant of, we have parents that have to work. Some of them are essential workers, other of them have to work just to make their family stay afloat. And they depend upon their kids being here. So Belen is not offering the all-day option. Their population is very different. Our families definitely need the all-day option. Families can opt into this full-day option. The purpose of this option is to support families that require full day due to work requirements, or families that don't have technology at home to do the home study or make it difficult to do so. We will not be sending the Chromebooks home every day. So kids that are not going to be here and going to go home, they need to have the technology and the internet to be able to do this at home. The gym will be again divided into 4 quadrants. 1 quadrant for each of our cohorts, 1st through 3rd, 4th and 5th, middle school. Those kids that are on full day will go to class either in the morning or in the afternoon, and when they're not in class, they'll be in the gym working on their home studies or getting an elective class. We are going to need the support of everybody in doing this, and I'm going to have to do some creative scheduling because we have some people working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, others working 9:30 to 3:30. One of the things I have to work out is a detailed schedule of who will be with what quadrant and what will be everybody's schedule given the obligations that we've already made to people. The other piece, and I talk about this later, is that specialist teachers, personnel in the gym will be assigned to only one group of students, so there isn't the cross-contamination that we have here. So picking on Donna might be assigned to the middle school, and she'll be with the middle schoolers all 3 weeks. Just saying that hypothetically. Lunch will be offered to these students. We have students that are on free lunch. We may look at ways for students that are half day to also be able to take part in the lunch program, especially for those families that need that extra assistance. Also, the aftercare program will be offered. So let me show you what a sample schedule. Again, this could be the morning or the afternoon. At 11:20, they go out to recess. At 11:40, they have lunch. Then they come into the gym and they have home study time. So the kids get out their work. They start working on their home studies there in the gymnasium. Then let's say, again, picking on Donna, that she's working in the middle school. She can provide technology instruction to the kids and give them some elective time. They can then have a recess and then additional home study time, again, getting us to that hour and a half, which means the kids should have most, if not all, their home studies done before they leave here. And then they're preparing for dismissal. Again, just like I said with the classroom teachers, those assigned to these different quadrants can revise, tweak the schedule. This is strictly a sample, but we really should try, in whatever way people do it, to have between an hour and a half of home study time so that the students can get most of that work done during the school day. So that when the parents pick them up, they can have parent time with their kids. Let me stop there. I'm going to talk about remote learning here in a second. And the remote learning is going to be much simpler than it is now. But let me, any questions about the full day option? Sarah asked the question about will we still have students moving classes in the middle school? I'm even more comfortable with the kids moving in middle school because instead of having 21 kids in the hallway, we're going to have 10 or 11. If things keep getting worse and we start having growing COVID cases, we as a school and as a building leadership team may have a discussion about minimizing movement, but at this point in time, it is very difficult on the middle school to have the teachers moving. So we'll have the students moving throughout the class. And again, we'll have much fewer kids in the hallways at any one time. Okay, let me move on to remote learning. We are going to open up the remote learning window to any family that wants to switch from in-person to remote. If you go back to the study, the survey we did, it looks like 15% of our families want remote. Families on remote will be able to get the exact same program we're offering now. They will be able to get it on, they will be able to get the exact same program that we offer on Monday, the 30th, on remote or in person. We are going to be moving to a synchronistic model for the remote, and we can move to a synchronistic model. I didn't want us to have a synchronistic model because of working families. Working families can send their children to the all-day program, and we can accommodate them that way. Having it synchronistic means that your class comes in at 8:15, you turn the camera on, your camera is on till 11:15, and those kids are expected to be in your class participating remotely during that whole entire time. Families can opt into that. These are, again, kids that will be fully off campus, but the opting in will have to be from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And I want to highlight those families that are traveling, gathering in large groups or have a high health risk, really must take this option. If a family travels, they have to quarantine. There's 3 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas that we have school. A family that has to quarantine is going to be out for those two of the 3 weeks. They might as well go on remote learning right from the beginning, and I'll be stressing that to our parents when I meet with them tomorrow. Remote learners will be in a synchronistic model and will be required to be in class at a particular time. They'll have to be there either at 8:15 or 1:15. We may assign them, they might not have a choice depending upon how the numbers play out. We may assign them to one or the other, or put them all together in one time so that we only have the camera on at one particular time rather than having it both in the morning session or in the afternoon. Remote learners will also have to complete all the home studies assigned and turned in at the same time as the rest of the kids. So they might be in math class in the morning with Mr. Garcia again. They're watching it on video at 8:15. He's doing his math lesson. He says they have to do the guided practice in their home studies, and it's due by 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. These kids that are on remote have to get it done. They're held to the same exact standards. In all honesty, they're getting the same learning. And really the only thing you're having to do differently for the remote learners is turn on your camera. They will participate in the live class in the same class as everybody else. Google Classroom will be the platform for communicating expectations for home study component and for students watching the class virtually. So they'll go through Google Meets on your classroom. The only thing that you have to put into Google Classroom, these are, I'm throwing lesson planning out the door. You can lesson plan however you want to. The only thing you have to put in Google Classroom is the student home studies. So you don't have to put your morning lecture into the Google Classroom unless you want to. Only thing you have to do is what are those things that they have to do in home study? They should be able to find it there in the Google Classroom. That's where they'll go to get their home studies component. COVID precautions. We're going to do some examination of our cohorts and our practices right now to strengthen them, to make sure that we're using best practices. This plan actually minimizes transitions. The first through third grade kids will not be coming into the upper building. We'll be cleaning in between the AM and PM group. The other thing I'm highly recommending is that saying that we shouldn't have students sharing desks. And what Berlin did is they put 2 desks right next to each other. That gave it added space between this child and this child over here. And then what they did is AM sat in this row, PM sat in this row. And it really worked out really, really well. Sharing a desk. We're staff supervising full day program will be added to a particular cohort, and the after school music program will be put temporarily on hold due to cross-contamination issues. We have kids from JK through 8th grade in those classes, and or maybe not that extent, but we have lower level kids to 8th graders in those classes. And that is where a lot of cross-contamination comes into play. The less we can have students intermingling, the better off we all are. Yet again, and I might have made a mistake in one of my schedules. The afternoon program is 12:15 to 3:15. So each of the programs are 3 hours long. 8:15 to 11:15, 12:15 to 3:15. And going back to this slide here, teachers need to get their students out to the lawn at 11:15, and then I'll work with available staff to get the kids picked up or to go to the after program. So you don't have to wait around until your kids are picked up. As soon as you get them out to the lawn, the teachers can go and have lunch, and so that you have as much of that hour as possible. There's one more slide, I believe. Here's the timeline. On Monday and Tuesday, the BLT did an amazing job. There was great questions asked, great conversations. Tuesday, I'm meeting with you. So you're the first ones getting this besides the BLT and father. I was sending an email to the parents tonight informing them of this plan, and particularly that we won't have school tomorrow, but we will, or Monday next week, but that we will have childcare available for those that need it. I will be doing a parent Zoom meeting tomorrow night. You're welcome to attend if you want. You don't have to, there's no expectation. I will also be sending out the parent preference survey. Parent preference surveys are due by Friday afternoon. And then on Tuesday of next week, I'll be putting the rosters together, notifying parents, with us planning on starting on November 30th. That is what I got here. What questions, thoughts, concerns, anything that you might have? Not hearing any.
I have 2 students that go with Miss Kurth for math. How will that work? Will that need to be put on hold?
I think the intervention math will be put on hold, at least initially, until we can plan that out, that Ms. Kurth is doing. I would like to see if there's any way, that we can continue the 5th graders going to 6th grade math. The intervention side of things are strictly, we'll put on hold until we can figure out if we can do those and a good way to do them. Monica asked if I'm in the charge of the cohort in the gym, do I need to plan activities for them for the whole afternoon? No, they should be working on their home studies. A bulk of that time, bulk of that 3 hours should be them working on home studies. That time you don't have to plan anything other than just be present for them and help answer questions and keep them on task. We will strive to have 2 adults in there at all times with at least 1 certified teacher. I would recommend, and you don't have to do it, but I would recommend if you're just Monica, because you asked the question, if you're assigned to, again, I'll pick on the middle school. If you're assigned to the middle school, you'll be with them for 3 weeks. I would recommend that we spend 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even an hour of that time, where they can do an art project there, but you're not to plan the whole 3 hours. I would recommend that they have 1 elective or pull-out class time using the specialty of whoever is assigned to them. But the rest of the time should be them being on the Google Classroom and working on their home studies. Again, just to reiterate, the reason we're doing this at this point, partially because of the spiking and to get less kids in the classroom, keep everyone healthy. The biggest reason is we have to make a change. We cannot continue what we're doing now because of the mandate made by the Archdiocese that we take 25% of the individual room capacity. I'll be available. You're free to talk about this. I would direct you. You're welcome to come and talk to me. I'd also encourage you to talk to your BLT member They were part of these conversations. I asked them to help with clarifying things, and if they can't answer it, then they'll come to me, or you can come to me, but you're also welcome to come meet me at any time. We will still be with, I do want to talk to Alan because of us not doing the after school program. I would like to have a private conversation with him about his hours, but for everybody else, I believe I can work this all out so that you can work the same hours that you're working right now. So I do not expect any differences in the hours of the elective teachers. Phil and Kimberly, we're gonna have to have a conversation once we look at what the middle school schedule will look like, to see if you can do every other day rather than half day every day, and that side of it. So there will be some work that we have to do on schedules, but for the elective teachers, I think we'll be able to keep exactly what we're doing right now. All right. Again, I'll stick around if there's any additional questions. This is recorded. I'll upload it to YouTube if you want to go back. Can't fall asleep tonight, you can watch it, it'll put you right to sleep. But let me know if you have any questions, and I thank you. Said at the beginning of the year, the key word is going to have to be flexibility. We've been doing an extremely good job. Our parents are so proud of what we're doing and so happy that we will, we're doing the right thing. I really believe it. PLCs will be put on hold throughout the hybrid. All meetings that we have henceforth will be through this means so that we can keep the cross contamination down. But we will not be having any PLC meetings until we can return to a non-hybrid model or a non-remote learning model. So have a great day. God bless. I'll stick around if there are any additional questions.
Thank you, Mark.